Yo, so what is up, my broskies? My name is Lupus, and today I have my best friend JD here with me once again.
What's up, guys?
And we are going to be talking to you guys about the vehicle mechanics as well as some customization on the vehicles within Battlefield 4. And in the background, I have some squad deathmatch gameplay. And the main reason we started the gameplay was because we wanted to have a 1v1v1v1 little free-for-all. And, you know, there's 4 teams in squad deathmatch. Well, we did have 5 people. And I was playing with JD, a couple of our friends, and a subscriber of mine who we are now calling Dan the Man, and he is, I think his account name was Midnight Marathon V01 or V01, and I really do enjoy playing with my subscribers, and thanks to him for helping me get this gameplay and being in the gameplay with me. And we were having the free-for-all. We had 5 people, and there were only 4 teams, so we put another one of our friends who was a noob, just like Dan, and put them together and figured 2 noobs could make a good team or something against a bunch of very experienced players. And I was winning. I was using a Spaz 12 of slugs, which didn't make them very happy. They complained the entire time. But
I was having an off day, I'm going to admit. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, we were all doing pretty well, and I was ahead. Then JD lagged out of the game, and as soon as he lagged out, boom, a bunch of people just joined.
It filled up. And
it flooded. He couldn't even join back. And I ended up having to switch to another team that was actually empty so I could get Dan the Man and another one of my friends in there with me so that we could play some more on the same team. And I ended up giving up my 21 to like 5 point lead, and we ended up being on the team that had 5 points and they had like 21, and we ended up coming back and winning even though they had a big advantage that I had actually given them. And it was a pretty good gameplay. I also have some BMP gameplay on there for those of you guys who want to see vehicle gameplay while we talk about vehicles. Do not fret, it will be within there. But we are going to go ahead and talk about the actual mechanics within the vehicles within Battlefield 4. So you seem to know a little bit more about this, JD. Would you like to go ahead and start us?
Of course. Okay. Well, the first thing I want to start off with is disabling. That's one thing that really gets on people's nerves sometimes, because you know you're riding around in your tank, something that gets disabled one shot by another tank quite easily every once in a while. It was happening in the Noah today.
It was gay. He'd get one shot onto me and take me down like 70%, and I was.
And it would seem like no matter where the shot looked like it was coming from, it would just barely tip over the turret and touch the engine just enough to disable him in one hit. But that's not going to be the case in Battlefield 4. We're going to have something a little more complicated, where if you want to stop a tank from moving, like it would be taking its health down below 40%, I think.
It's like 36. I think it's 36. That seems about right. 36, 37. It's a really random number, but that's about what it is.
Somewhere in there. It's not going to be like that. If you're just getting hit in your turret in Battlefield 4 by another tank, you're going to be fine. You're still going to be able to move around full speed. But the thing is, if you get hit in the tracks, now you can't move. They're taking the hit where you're getting hit and using that against you.
And that's how you end up being disabled. You know, you won't just get hit multiple times in the same place and get disabled. Me and JD were actually watching some gameplay, and we were kind of confused. And there was a helicopter, and he got shot repeatedly. I think he got shot by an RPG, and his health went down super low. And he was flying around with 20% of the, like, what is it? 20. It was not really health.
It's,
I guess,
health.
Vehicle health. And he had 20% vehicle health, and we were like, oh, he's disabled. And then it started going up, and I was like, wait, what just happened? And now it seems like like what they are doing, it's not seeming like it's actually what it's going to be. They're making disabling a little bit more realistic and a little bit more tolerable, because if you're in a tank and you get shot in the front where you have most of your armor, honestly, that's not going to be able to disable you. No matter how many times they end up like repeatedly shooting you, maybe eventually, but with like 2 to 3, maybe even sometimes even 1 shot from another tank, that's not going to disable you.
Well, see, the thing about tanks, though, is if any of you guys play World of Tanks, you know what I'm about to talk about. If you get hit in where all your ammo is, that ammo's explosive, obviously. And when something explosive hits something else explosive, it explodes.
Kaboom. But
So
that might be one of the things that they end up putting in Battlefield, you know, like something more realistic like that. And that's the whole idea behind it, I guess. I interrupted you.
It's totally fine. Just let you speak. But so if they can do that with a tank, imagine what they could do with other vehicles. Think of a boat being hit in the bottom of the hull by a tank and sinking, possibly. Something along those lines.
With the way they have been speaking about it, that seems like a very likely possibility. And just if you think about that, if you shoot them in the hole and they gradually sink, maybe they'll be gradually sinking. It's kind of like when you're disabled in a tank and it says you're disabled, but you can still stay in there for a little bit. You still have a little bit less control, and you start moving around a little bit sluggishly, and your health is just drastically going down, but you can still stay in there for a little bit longer. I feel like that's going to be the same kind of thing within the boat. You're gradually sinking, you're gradually losing control, but you can still shoot a little bit longer and stuff, and that would be a really cool idea. But what it seems like is going to happen is, if you are in a tank, the main places that will disable you is in the tracks and in the back area where your engine is. So that's probably what's going to do it. And if they decide to go for extreme realism, and if they shoot in the area where the ammo is being loaded, that could also do it as well. And that would be a very interesting thing, and I'm very looking forward to that because, you know, now I'm going to know what parts of my tank I need to watch, because I won't want them to get an easy shot at those parts that could disable me, but I can still stay alive a decent amount of time by keeping that area that's a little bit more durable and little withstanding, and stay alive a little bit longer. And the same thing within the helicopter. If you shoot the main rotor or the tail rotor, then, you know, maybe they could add an effect like that. I remember in Bad Company 2 there was an effect where if you got shot in the tail of your helicopter, you would actually spin out and then crash to the ground. And I thought that was a really cool animation, and the overall immersiveness of that was pretty epic. I actually saw a Reddit little forum that was going on. People were conversing about that, and I thought it was a pretty good idea.
It is a good idea. I mean, well, I think it's a good idea. There's some people who would be totally against it, just like suppression. Yeah. I mean, everybody's going to have their own opinion. We can't do anything about that.
Yeah, honestly, I enjoy suppression because I think it adds a little bit more realism, because in real life, when you get hit, like a sniper shot or an LMG shot goes over you, it's not all guns, which is why I like the way they're
Then that adrenaline starts flowing in.
Yeah, it
you're
causes
a little
blurry
confused.
vision and stuff, and you're confused, and your ear, like a bullet has just whizzed by your head, and that causes you to hear a little bit more. And a lot of people say, whenever I get suppressed, I can't shoot. And, you know, it's like, it's really hard to aim. Well, in real life, if you have a sniper shot go right past your head, and so, like that,
I would be fearing for my life.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to gather your senses enough to shoot perfectly. You're going to have a little bit more uncontrollability, but that's not really what we're here to talk about. But that was sort of a just little idea on the spot that you can kind of relate to the entire realism behind it, and things that people may like and may not like. But I also think that the idea of shooting out the rotor, because I know when I'm in Grand Theft Auto or something, the helicopters are god-awful at flying. They're not very realistic or anything like that, and it's very hard to, like, control it very well. But what happens is, if you hit your rotor on stuff, your rotor flies off of you, and your helicopter's still fine, but it starts plummeting to the ground, you know? And if they added that, that'd be sweet. If somebody shoots the rotor off of the helicopter with their tank or something, and the helicopter just drops, that would be a little bit better. But instead of shooting the rotor and they just explode, you know, it would kind of make the vehicles weaker, but at the same time make them stronger. It would give you an idea of where their little sweet spot is, but then it would also make it that much harder, because you can't just get a random shot. So I like the idea behind that.
Something I can throw in there that I was just thinking about. You're getting shot while you're in a helicopter, and one of those animations does kick in where you're spinning out of control, and you have to bail. So when you bail, you pull your chute, but your chute gets shot, and then there's holes in your chute. That would be something cool too.
That may be asking a little much. I'm sure Battlefield could possibly do that in the future, but I don't really know if that will be incorporated in this upcoming game. If that did get incorporated, that would be pretty sweet. I know that in Battlefield 3 on the PC, I believe you can shoot people's parachutes while they're coming down, and it'll snap the cords and they'll fall and plummet. And that's a pretty cool thing as well, I think. And I'm pretty sure, I think you can cut your own cords on the parachutes as well. And those are some really cool things that I think would be sweet to have on the console for Battlefield 4. There was one more thing that you just said that I was just trying to think about. You said, oh, whenever you start spinning out and you get a shot on you by the helicopter and you start spinning out, like he said, there's some in Battlefield 3 right now. If you get shot anywhere while you're in a helicopter and it gets a hit marker on you, you're dead. You just explode.
Unless you're just one of those lucky people that.
And I've rarely ever seen that happen. I'm like, sometimes I'll shoot a tank shell at a helicopter and
see it explode and nothing happens.
No, yeah, I've seen that happen too. But the other day, you were in the game with me, or party with me, I believe, and I shot the shell and it shot the gunner out of the helicopter, but the helicopter was still fine. I don't know how it hit the helicopter and didn't explode it, but that's one of those random examples. But in this, it'll be a little bit different. They can shoot you in an area that's not quite as vulnerable, and you'll start spinning out a lot like how it is in Bad Company 2, and then you can pull your parachute and get out of there, which would make a lot of sense, and I think that would be really cool. And another really cool thing that I was hoping they would put in Battlefield 4 that they're unfortunately not going to is animations of getting into vehicles. I mean, how hard is it? A lot of people said it might be too time consuming to do that, but how hard would it be to add a little animation where you jump in the side door of the helicopter and go to the front seat? Or when you jump on top of the tank and then open the hatch and drop down in it. How hard would it be to add that animation? Or, for instance, the Jeep. You just sit into it and then you drive. It's not going to take up any time at all. It takes up about as much time as that black screen in between the time you're outside of it and in the vehicle.
Or as the time that it takes you to counter a knife, there's a fist fight going on and all that.
Yeah.
If they can do that, why can't they show me?
I mean, people would be like, I got shot while I was trying to get in the tank. That's not fair. Well, in real life, if you're trying to get in the tank, you're actually going to try and get in the tank. You're not just going to bloop inside of it. And I really wish they would have added that, but they're probably not going to. Maybe in the beta they might add it. I don't know. The pre-alpha didn't have that, but that would be a really cool thing. And just to touch on the customization real quick, I know we've made this video a pretty decent amount of length, but we have made some valid points, and I know you guys probably enjoyed this entire talk. But the customization seems really nice. They've added a little bit more variety on rockets and ammunition and stuff. I like that.
Yeah, there's different rounds. When you're in a tank in Battlefield, you're kind of stuck with that armored piercing 120mm round. Now there's going to be high explosive, possibly sabot rounds.
Yeah, and that's going to be cool because they haven't really said much about splash damage, but what if the shot hits the tank and there's infantry around it repairing it, and the splash damage kills those people repairing the tank? That would be a great idea as well. And I really like the idea of that. And they also added different rocket pods for the helicopters, the attack helicopters that are mainly used for infantry, and then the ones that are good for infantry but a lot better on vehicles. And I think that's a really good idea as well. And then, you know, they added the ability to do camos, which I think is awesome. Customize your vehicle, make it your own. And the one thing that I think is going to be the main thing is that that you can no longer
stack the same.
Yeah, it's not really stacking as much as it is stacking. Sometimes that does happen, but it's like certain perks such as the proximity scan, which are better off being with the gunner because you want to have reactive armor if you're the driver. Certain little attachments and customization features are now exclusive to the gunner, which will make your tank being powerful just a lot more easy. You won't have to worry about, oh wait, I have reactive armor, then you switch to the gunner seat and your reactive armor doesn't work anymore and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good idea.
That could also mean you're going to have to talk to your gunner a lot more.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really necessarily. Let's say he has random customization picked, and you don't, because the gunner and the driver now have different.
Oh, well, I'm not saying that they need to plan out what they're going to use, but I mean...
Oh, yeah, just communication. Yeah, that would work.
That's going to be something vital. If
I know I usually try and communicate with my gunner. But anything else you want to add before we end this video?
Flat tires.
Flat
I want to see tires go flat.
Oh, I actually heard you can do that now. I heard that you can shoot tires, like you can shoot at tires and they'll go flat on Humvees and Jeeps, and that's a pretty cool idea. I'm glad they're doing that, because that's just overall immersive feeling, realistic feeling that Battlefield has always presented to us will be even much more realistic. But I hope you guys did like this video. If you did, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe, and just be loving, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for my next video, and see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.
If you guys don't mind, if you guys could click the miscellaneous little box on my outro here, it will take you to a video from my friend Efren, aka ViceHDX. And it is a little knife montage that me and him did together, and it is a really cool video, and I definitely think you guys will enjoy it. And I did help him out with improving his channel, making his intro, outro, everything on his channel a lot better, and I think you guys will enjoy it. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.